Well, good morning. My name is Craig Blanchett. I'm Global Director and part of Team Global with Take Shape for Life, soon to become Optavia. Super exciting to bring you this Health Coach Huddle. We do this every Friday. A couple things that you may want to think about is if you can't be here live and you're watching this on a recording, this meeting happens Fridays, 9 a.m. Pacific. That would be 11 a.m. Central and straight up noon Eastern. You get to this meeting by going to zoom.us, and the meeting ID is 503-974-1671. So that's how you get to the live meeting. For those of you that are here live, you can actually watch this recording later. You can watch it video on YouTube or Vimeo, or you can listen to a podcast feed. I upload this to my own podcast each week. Search for Team Blanchett in your podcast player of choice, and you'll be able to listen to the audio version. The next email for next week, I actually put all that information so you can subscribe to the different feeds or podcasts in the invitation email, so you'll have that nice and handy. So we're slowly learning and getting better. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to have our TSFL University. And we're finding that TSFL University is super, super helpful to keeping us. Every coach is also a client, which means every coach is interested in personal growth as far as their health in one of the three areas of the trilogy or all. And so we're all moving forward and trying to move forward with our health, maintaining a proper, a good health that we've already achieved, all things like that. So TSFL University allows us to hear from new people, one of our support calls reviewed. I'd actually like to take just a second and toss this out to the group. Maybe one or two of you can comment on how the TSFL University and hearing from other people give takeaways from our calls, how that adds some richness to the experience of just plugging into our support system, support calls through Take Shape. Anybody want to jump in and talk through that? Linda B. or Angela? I pick you. Angela, you're first. You don't have anything to say? Let me unmute you. Well, you know, like last week when we were on the call, and you're listening to somebody review one of the calls that maybe you listen to, but you're hearing from somebody else's perspective. Is that beneficial, or what's that look like for you?
It is beneficial because a lot of times they'll pick up on things that I won't pick up on. It's kind of like sharing notes in a class. So it's kind of the beauty of it. You know, you're cheating off your friend, which, you know, it's kind of nice. So yeah. Just because everyone's perspective is a little bit different. And so because of that, what they glean from something is going to be different than what I glean from it. Or maybe they just cast a different light on what I had already seen. So it does help to be able to have other people's opinions and perspectives brought into it.
You nailed it. That's exactly why we do it. So perfect. The one of the other things that I muted you. There's another thing too, if you think about, we had a guy named Ken who was about 3 weeks ago tuned in and covered the Habits of Health call. He was just a client at the time. 2 weeks later, he became a coach, and now he has his first client, and he is so fired up and excited about this. So I want to challenge you guys. Who do you know that that is fun and has something to offer that you could like say, hey, can you bring some of your awesomeness over here and share it with us coaches? And who knows, they may find that we're awesome, and there might be a good, cool match there that they want to come around more often. So think about that in your mind. This morning, we're going to hear from somebody awesome. His name's Chad. And so Linda thought the same thing. You know what, Chad's got some awesome stuff here, and so we want to hear from Chad. So we'll hear from him in just a minute. But I want you to think about reasons why we do TSFL University. And we're trying to look for more people to join our community that are going to make us better. And we're hopefully looking for folks that will enjoy this community and it will make them better too, right? And because in the end, we're going to be working on our health for the rest of our life, right? And the more help we can get, the better. So Awesome. So thank you guys for showing up and being here. For those of you that are listening to the replay, we'd love to see you face if you can make it. And one of the things that I talked with Daniela probably about 3 years ago, she said, Friday mornings just don't work. And I said, well, what if we were to look into the future and we were to ask you a question? Would you like to be there on Friday mornings? And she said, yes, but I just can't. So who here has had that kind of experience where you may want to do something, but all you can see is the reason why you can't do it? Does that make sense? Yeah. And so I said, well, what if over the next 3 months, that's 90 individual days, right? If we were to work from right now, you're not here at all, to being here maybe once a month or maybe twice a month. And she said, wow, okay, I guess I could do that. And so we set up structural tension where she was with her obstacles, and what she wanted was over here. And then we put together a plan, and within, I think, 2 months, 6 weeks or something, she started attending, right? Then we went and switched it on her to Tuesday nights, and so now she's working on getting it back again. But so think about that. If you want something, why not work to go get it? I don't care how big the wall in front of you is. If you want what's on the other side really bad, you're going to become a tunneling expert. You're going to be a dynamite expert, and you're going to blow that obstacle up. You're going to be a dodging expert. Maybe you're going to run around it, or you might learn to climb, and you just climb over that obstacle. I don't know what it's going to be, but if what you want's on the other side of that wall, think about that. It's what I want, and it's over there. So let's figure out how the skills we need to go get that thing. Hope that speaks to you this morning, because that's a
great. Can I weigh in on a little bit?
Yeah, go for it, Alex.
All right, so cool. I can't wait to hear from Mr. Shepka Ushanka. That's Chad wearing that cool hat. The Russians told me that Shepka Ushanka is what they call that hat. It means hat with ears.
Hat with ears.
Right.
Didn't know that.
I'm excited. I would totally log off this call if he wasn't wearing that hat. So, yeah. Well, here's the deal. You talked about get those skills. I know I've totally derailed you from what we were even talking about right now, but you were talking about really having that focus for what you want. Even if it's on the other side of that mountain, you're going to become a tunneling expert, dynamite expert. You're going to blow things up. You're going to go for it because it matters and it's worth it, right? And sometimes we want that, and we think it's just a matter of dynamite expert and a matter of tunneling, and it is a matter of that, and it's also a matter of being able to stay in action. And that's oftentimes what destroys or takes away all that momentum. Is some of us have a hard time resolving time, that it's actually going to take some effort and some time over time. And so we might even have the skill, but we give up too soon. Has anybody ever experienced that? Where you know what to do, but you get bored or distracted? Mm-hmm. Yep. So if that's a mindset issue with you, just know you're in great hands, because the most successful people I actually know, and I'm not kidding you, the most successful people I know all had this issue, and they went and got the kind of support they needed for their mindset too. So skill, yes, and a mindset thing. And you're going to find that the action is right in the middle of those two. So,
yeah, Linda, thank you, Alex. Linda and I were talking about something very similar to this morning, where she has a coach that she's working with. She's got a lot of life happening right now. Mm-hmm. You can relate that there's seasons when we have a lot of life happening. And we talked about the idea that we set the course. Mm-hmm. They set the pace. And I hear that, and it's a fun slogan. It rolls off your tongue, and then it's almost like too slick, because you move on. You go, oh, I think I know what that means, and then you move on. And I've been coming back to that. And Linda, we were talking about somebody that said a lot of life is happening right now, and Linda was concerned that she was giving this person being. It's almost like the clarity that Linda was giving on the next step was in Linda's mind, I think, perceived as pushing her towards it. And so we had a little chat discussion this morning, a text discussion, that you're just making sure that the next step is clear. When she chooses to take that, is up to her. And right now she's saying, I can't take that because I have life happening. And so a little bit, can you comment on that, Linda? I'll unmute you. Just about what your perspective of that conversation of the pace setting and the course setting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of our job as coaches is to be empathetic. And a lot of that is paying attention to those that we're serving. And sometimes, and I don't know if this is what you were wanting to touch on, Craig, but sometimes we can give someone actually what they're asking for, but in that period of life, they actually can't receive it. And so there's a fine line of knowing how to give someone the information so that they can receive it. Because even if it's what they need or it's what they've asked for, wisdom, discernment, empathetic coaching calls for us to pay attention to who we're taking care of or who we're walking alongside. And I think I had communicated, there's just sometimes different ways that you can communicate information so that it's received better. Mm-hmm. And so I just learned sometimes just throwing information online, or I wasn't throwing it, is not as good as a phone conversation.
Yep.
Where she doesn't feel like she's reading a lot, she's discussing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good learning point for me.
I've been working with Terry probably 300% more than what I have been up to this point. And so I hope that I'm growing and changing, in that there's a benefit not only for myself, but for you guys as well, to transfer that. But one of those things I see Terry is how she's autonomy supportive and how she helps people. Like when you say, so do you want to help some clients this month? Well, that's probably because people are going to look at the obstacles and how busy they are, and they're going to say no. But she looks at the reasons why helping clients would be of value to anyone and talks about the value of it. And so even in this situation with this coach, it's the value of that next step, not just that next step. Mm-hmm. And if they see the value, and then okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to look at this one document, and you're going to watch this one video. You get to decide when you do that. And I'll follow up in a few days to see how you're doing, because I know you're busy. Right? And so we're not pushing them to do that next thing. What we're actually doing is we're just letting them know this is the next thing. When you take a breath, and if this is still what you want, because of that reason, this is what you need to do to get you closer to the things you want. It's interesting how these are goals that they want. And if they're not goals that they want, change the goal. Think about that. They're your goals. But if you're not going after them, maybe it's something you made up and it's not really a goal of yours. So change it. They're yours. You get to do whatever you want with them. So anyway, this is a more of a soft skill kind of deep coaching thing, but there's some rhythm to that autonomy supportive, which supporting them in the things that they want and helping them to be clear about the next step to go get it. And not just the step, but the next step to go get the thing that they want, that gets them what they want. And they get to choose the pace. That's really freeing for me when I go, oh, this is a pacing issue. This is not me. The steps are clear to both of us, and it's up to them when they're ready to take that next step. So a little discussion. I love the impromptu-ness of that. Hopefully that gets you guys thinking a little bit. I want to bring on Chad now. What is the hat called again, Alex? The Sherpa Doopa Doo? Go ahead.
Yeah.
What was it called? Oh, I muted
playing the
you.
games.
Yeah.
It's called the Shupka Ushanka.
Shupka Ushanka.
Yes. For sure.
Everybody together. Shupka Ushanka.
Yes.
The hat with ears. All right. Okay.
Greg, real quick. Chad's never been on a meeting before.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
I know.
Goodness.
Chad is here with his hat.
So he's kind of a newbie. He is a coach. He's a pro in the hat, as Alex said.
Well, he's got headphones going over the hat. I don't even know how that works.
I mean, I was told to not have like any distracting background, kind of thing. And I think the hat kind of really, does it.
Good boy. Yeah, so Chad, Alex is doing his mime impression.
We'll just call him. Can't we just call him Cousin Eddie instead?
Cousin Eddie, yeah. So Alex, what were you trying to say?
Oh, I just said, yeah, the background's totally distracting, but the hat, you don't even notice the thing.
Yeah. So Chad, how do you know Linda?
I know Linda through church, family friend, and then
Mhm.
her husband is really close with my older brother.
Okay.
And
so you're involved. So tell us a little bit about how your experience with Take Shape, maybe just a couple things about what you've experienced, and then where you're from, and then you can go in. Then we'll start your share for the Habits of Health call, I think is what you're covering today.
Mhm.
Yep. So go ahead.
Well, I started, I was at school and I kind of, had realized it was after the holidays, and I kind of realized I gained just a few pounds. And I really wanted to do something about it. And then Linda, being Linda, has always, been really super energetic and really always posting about kind of things that she's passionate about. And so she was always posting about this thing called Take Shape. And so I gave her a text, and we called over Zoom, and then kind of got set up with that. And then after, a few weeks, seeing results very quickly, the results that I really liked, she kind of discussed with me kind of what it looks like to be a coach. And I said, I actually might want to do this, kind of get it out, get the word out. And this works. And if you trust the process and you do what your coaches tell you, it's all about just trusting the process. And once you do that, it's a done deal pretty much. And so, so that's kind of my background. I'm from Oregon. I'm from Gresham, Oregon. But I think I'm covering the balancing the fork, which was a health call. But so I listened to the podcast, and I talked about, the 5-in-1 and all that kind of good stuff. But the thing that really kind of popped out to me was at the very beginning, she started talking about statistics, and she said more than 2 out of 3 adults are overweight, are close to obesity. 1 in 3 adults are obese. 1 in 20 adults are actually in extreme obesity. And then even more kind of terrifying is 1 in 3 children, 6 to 19, is overweight, and then 1 in 6 children are actually obese. And so she talked a lot about the 5-in-1, saying that if you had 2 groups, and one group was doing the 5-in-1, same amount of proteins, calories, vitamins, and minerals, then they were doing it in small meals, 6 small meals a day, as opposed to 3 traditional kind of meals a day. You see the group did the 5-in-1 will actually sleep better, be happier, and then lose the weight, as opposed to the people who are just doing the intake 3 times a day. And that was really cool. Talked about blood sugar balancing. When your blood sugar is actually low and steady, you're not using as much insulin, which gives you health advantages. You're more efficient. You're not storing fat. And those are great things. They started talking about that. But really the stats is what really got me. Just talking about how we do. You can go out and see that there's an issue that we have. Just kind of as a people, you can see it. But to put it on paper and to kind of really see the stats. Like if you were in a room of, 30 people, 20 of the people would be on average overweight. And so it's just kind of that really, gets the fire burning, and, gives me really big motivation to go out and to kind of talk to people and see where people are at in their journeys and see where they want to go and kind of see their goals. But that's kind of what really stuck out to me was that.
Yeah, question for you. The some of the stats that you mentioned popped out to you, and really, is there a specific reason, like why that jumped out to you, if you can think through that?
Really just there's such an obvious problem nobody wants to talk about. You can see it. It's so evident in our culture. We glorify food, and we glorify this idea that if it tastes good, it's good for us, and we should eat it. And, it's not. And you have all these people trying to do it, their own way. And it's like before I did Take Shape, I tried all the workouts. I tried all, and those things, can work every now and then for certain people. But it's I've seen all the posts that Linda posts about people losing weight. And it's this worked, Take Shape worked. The process worked. And so, but just popping up and seeing that there's such an evident issue and problem in today's culture. And it's nobody's talking about it. And so It's nice to be a part community who likes to talk about it and
Yeah.
who wants to make an effort to change that.
Perfect. Awesome. So thank you for preparing and sharing with us. I want to toss this out to the team here. If something that Chad said struck a chord in you and you want to, let's have a little discussion on it, or if you just want to give Chad some feedback, go ahead and unmute yourself and jump in. Elise, yeah.
Hey, well, Chad, I want to say welcome. I admire you for your willingness to come on a call, a first call like this, and to actually present. So thank you so much. And I just have to say, rehearing those stats really makes coaching so important, because we might forget what a big gift health actually is, and showing somebody there is a way to get healthy, especially when we're talking about children. Like, that just hits my heart, because I never want my kids to have to struggle like that. And so just thank you so much for retelling us that and reigniting passion in me to go and spread this gift to others. So thank you.
Sweet, yeah.
That's great feedback, Elise. Thanks. Anybody else have a comment or two for Chad? Go ahead and unmute yourself. There's been a few people that have
Craig, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Hi, Danielle.
Hey. Hi. So I guess the thing that it made me think of, and Chad, I so appreciate your being here and giving your perspective. And what I think about is when we're chatting with our patients, there's just so much denial in our culture about where we're at. So, I can ask somebody, well, do you have high blood pressure? And they'll say no, because they view the medication as fixing it, making it go away. When in fact, it just sort of disguises it, controls it to some degree, but it's still there. And so are a lot of comorbid symptoms then that start to come up. So I love what Chad said about that idea that, nobody talks about it. And I think there has to be truth to that, because we're a culture in total denial about where we're at, and that so many of these diseases are created by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Great stuff. Anybody else? Yeah, hi, Linda. Go for it.
I want to make sure Chad's probably sick of hearing me talk anyway. Does anybody else want to go first before I jump in?
Your voice is just grinding, Linda.
I know. Sandpaper. It's sandpaper. This just really came to my head. Chad, what I love about you being willing to move forward as you learn to engage in the process of paying it forward, becoming optimally healthy yourself first, and then helping other people around you and creating that community, is we need people in your generation to do it.
Yeah.
Because all of us are we're not that much older. Craig is like 25.
I just got my Medicare check just the other day. My goodness. I'm so glad and thankful.
Right.
Yeah, thank you for being here, man, because we're on the way out.
All that to say, right, Alex, you can probably chime in, but it's the next generation of people who are going to be, that's who needs to be reached. That's the future of our country. It's the future leaders. And, Alex is kind of old, but, he's still relevant, I guess.
If you really want something morbid, Linda, the birth rate is down. So by the time you get old, there won't be anyone to take care of you. So you're really...
My
$1 million shirt, old but relevant.
Now Kim feels old. Anyway, that's what I'm excited about, is we need people leading this front, or else everybody's going to be too fat to go fight a war that might pop up on our doorstep. It's a little extreme, but still. So,
can I add to Linda's thing?
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying, and it's not even an age thing. It's right now there's such a movement that, yes, it's okay to be who you are, but it's saying, yes, it's okay to be unhealthy, and claim that, and it's okay. And that part is not okay. So I think that's really what you're saying, other than like the age, but it's like this social movement now, like, love yourself. Yes, do it. But if you're unhealthy, you need to get healthy. So. Well,
that's truly loving yourself. I heard someone say recently, a life without self-control or discipline You know, let's say I'm free to eat anything I want, and quite frankly, I am. But that kind of lifestyle does not lead to freedom. That leads to a life of bondage, because eventually I'm just so out of balance. My body's getting in the way. My health is preventing me from doing the things I want. So a life of total free choices does not lead to freedom. It leads to bondage. And I feel, and I find in my own life, that a life that has self-control and discipline actually leads to the freedom life that I'm desiring. After that workout, I'm feeling awesome. Right before it, I'm not that interested, right? And you earn, that's the economy that God set up in this world, is that when we do that hard thing and then we earn that feeling on the other side. And so when you choose not to have those foods that are totally what you want in the moment, and you choose to have something else that takes good care of you, you actually earn the freedom in your body. I don't know. For me, that's just profound.
Yeah, I'm more interested now in the feelings that come from the hard work and the discipline than the gratification stuff. And that's something you learn over time by giving yourself to that, and then you get to experience it. And it is hard to explain, because until you've gone through that and experienced it, it doesn't really make that much sense to your brain. So I get it.
I also think that it's loving yourself. That's true. But it's being able to love those in your life that you already love so much easier and so much better. I'm able to be the mom that I want to be because I'm not 126 pounds heavier than I was before. I'm able to be the wife that I want to be because I'm not so much heavier. So it gives such a source of freedom too, in order for me to be able to love them the way I want to. So
there's some freedom to love and do the things that are valuable to you.
Yes.
Hey, Craig.
Yes.
I have a question.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi. Thanks, Chad, for sharing, because, sometimes I've missed the last few meetings, and there's a reason why sometimes I think that I jump on these and we catch the right meeting at certain times, because I just had a conversation. You're in the Portland area also. And did you see the article in the Oregonian on Wednesday regarding small meals versus 3 meals a day? I have a woman I work with here at work that is, constantly always thinking about health, even though she could use it to lose a few pounds. But it debunks the idea of eating 6 meals a day. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because we just had this conversation yesterday, and I'm holding the article because she brought it for me. And I had to, try to start pulling out my habits of health stuff and mention to her, well, I'm an example of how it works, because they're talking about hunger, and I just wasn't sure if anybody else saw that article and if they had any comments on it, because I was like, I need to go back to my habits of health book and find the research that they did that proved the opposite of what this article is saying. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to see if anybody else.
So the article is saying that 6 small meals a day is not the best?
That it doesn't really help with your appetite. It's really, it's Wednesday, September 14th. It's in Food Day. Sorry, I'm a little nervous when I talk. I get nervous.
You're doing awesome. It was the University of Toronto is where the study was done on 6 small fuelings, and the study was 2 groups of people, same exact foods, which means same exact calories and macronutrients and everything. Mm-hmm. One group had 3 meals a day, the other group had 6 meals a day. Again, all with the same foods. And the ones that had 6 meals a day had less hunger, had weight loss, and had more stable blood sugar energy. The other people had more fluctuations. And I don't know if they maintained weight or gained weight. I'm not sure the details there, but that was essentially the nuts and bolts of the study. It's at University of Toronto.
Yeah.
You can Google University of Toronto 6 small meals and probably find it online.
Okay, because it was just it talks about appetite control on whether or not, and actually weight loss, and I went to, it all depends on what you're eating. You can't eat 6 meals, a meal every 2 to 3 hours, and then eat a 300 calorie meal. You've got to understand that it's what you eat when you eat those types of foods, and of course.
Hey, Debbie, I want to dialogue with you a little bit, because someone, let's just say that someone brought that in, and like she did, and rather than referring to another study by another person that just combats what they're saying. So now it's not personal. It's just out there with these professionals, and they're duking it out. What's a way that you could make that personal? And because what you've done did something radical in your life, right? Yes. So how could you turn that around to her and thank her? Because she's, one thing that's positive that happened is she's paying attention to healthy things, and she sees you as someone that can talk about healthy things with her. So you've modeled that. Good job. Seriously, don't overlook that. That's like so good. You are branding yourself as a healthy person, and people are bringing you healthy things to talk to them about.
Right.
Well done. So can you think of a way in your mind of how you could respond to her and sort of kind of bring it down to two people discussing a healthy thing?
Well, she's kind of really anti the product that we use.
Yeah,
she thinks she sees it, and so
irrelevant.
I just brought it down to it works for me. It's the fuelings that I do are nutrient have all the nutrients you need, are low in calorie and high in protein, and do the carb balance. And so I just try to bring it to what's working for me. Yeah. And I'm an example of, I don't have that issue.
So that's where you went at the end. Going into the other technical stuff may not be, you can choose to try that or not, but what you said at the end there, let me just shape it a little bit for you. What if you said, wow, that is so interesting. Now, I know for me, I used to be this weight, and I used to have these things, and I'm just not that anymore. And what I personally did was so different than that. I mean, and I love how I feel now. And I've lost 4,000 pounds, or I don't know how many you've lost, whatever you've lost. I'm just making it a big number. But and I know that I don't have the hunger swings like I used to. And so it's really interesting. Why do you think they said that? And so instead of trying to just combat it with other information, say, well, that's not been my experience. Let's talk about this.
But now that you say that, it did come into the conversation, because when I said I'm living proof, of that this works. I'm not hungry. I have the energy. I don't know about what they're saying, but it's working for me. Yeah. And I just thought it was interesting. Here's this topic.
I love that you brought this up, and I'm gonna lean into it a little bit more right now. There's an idea, and I know Alex and I have talked about this, where you have this idea where you have in the middle, I don't have a ball here. Let's just say this is the problem. So the problem is I'm overweight and weight loss and health, right? And you're on this side and saying this works. And then she comes in on this side and says, no, that doesn't work. And so now you guys are going like this, right?
Right.
And I don't know if she's overweight or not, but bottom line is you're not. And so that what you do works, regardless of what that paper says. Who cares? And so the goal here is not to play tug of war. My way works, your way doesn't. That's not true. This is true. The goal is for you to switch sides, and so you're both on the same side, and you're pulling not against the answers, but you're pulling against the problem. right? And so you coming alongside of here and going, wow, that is so weird. That's interesting. So now you, because that's not what I've experienced. I wonder why they said that. What do you what have you tried? So now instead of saying my way works and your way doesn't, you're now like locking arms with her and saying, let's fight this. Are you trying to lose weight? Wow. Well, I wonder if we could support each other. And so you're partnering, addressing the problem rather than fighting over the problem with different.
No, I like that.
ideas.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's something I need to learn.
We all do. That's why I'm leaning into it right now. We all need to learn this, me included. Right.
Right. Because right away I get into that defensive mode of like, instead of
because you're like, dude, the proof is in the pudding. Have you seen me lately? Yeah, I'm a healthy person. Are you kidding me? Of course mine works better. Mine's got all this stuff, and this is a stupid article. And by the way, have you noticed that you're overweight? Right?
Well, it's funny that you say that because that's how my body positions were. I was just like, I threw my hands up, but I'm proof.
Yeah. Would you like another view? How about this view? How about this view? How about this one?
I know. Well, we work out together, so she sees me, so she knows, So.
We could all weigh in on this one, Debbie. It's such a big deal. And there's those emotional, weigh-ins that our egos and our flesh wants to just jump out and tear it apart. That's where Craig really said something profound. And if we can get down to this, we can change people's lives if we really become interested in their opinion and their perspective. And there's a way to do that. That's the cool thing. So we could just say, be interested. There's a way to retrain your brain to actually become interested in other people's opinions when they're not the same as yours. And you'll have to sometimes, I will say, as I say that, I don't want to go too deep. You can do that with certain people and then find that there's a certain group of other people you just can't do it with. And you need to rework on that too, but as a whole, there's a formula for it. And I'm not going to go into it right now. For those of you who are interested in knowing how to become more of an observer when these types of conflicts of interest seem to be there, they're really not. It's a story that your brain has told you that there's a conflict of interest because you're both interested in the same thing. Yep. And that's what Craig was basically saying. She wants to be healthy. You want to be healthy. You want her to be healthy, but we're focused on competing ideals. And the thing is that her ideal and a lot of other people's, even sometimes ours, isn't even founded on anything other than somebody else's opinion or another study.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We don't even know the truth yet. Right? Other than there is a truth, like you said, about this has worked for you. So I'm going to go back. Bottom line is this. If you become an observer, that's what Craig's basically saying, and you can be more objective. That's why he held up the coffee cup. That's a tangible, we can actually do that with people. We can actually see the problem like a coffee cup when we remove ourselves. So there's a process. Get with your mentor. That's me in this case. Debbie, and I will help you through that mindset. And then those of you who aren't coaches with me, Craig will help you, and we'll work with you together. Craig's my coach, so just those of you who are new, so you're going to get both. I think it's a great topic that you're bringing up. Craig, thank you for leaning into that. Big.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. Kim, did you have something you wanted? I noticed you had your hand up.
Oh, well, I actually had a response to Chad before, but I will just kind of jump on that too. I know for me with those kind of situations, I don't know if this is helpful for you, Debbie, or not, but I've had the same absolute reactions and not a lot of success with that. But what I've been learning to do is as soon as I feel like my blood pressure rise or feel that defensive feeling, I immediately just remind myself, what question can I ask to understand better? Because it doesn't make sense. And that has helped me a lot in just trying to keep thinking of question after question so that, sometimes we make assumptions that are completely wrong. I've done that too. And it's been amazing how, especially when people are concerned about the product that we use and that kind of thing, how asking, sometimes I think it's for one complete reason, and when I ask the question, it goes down a completely different path. So
what you said, Kim, was so profound because it's seeking to find understanding. And in that situation where this lady brought it in, on the surface, we can see a combative thing because our minds go to a place where we're trying to protect turf. We're trying to protect our own. Wait a minute. My paradigm is this works. Are you kidding me? I've been fighting for this, right? I know you have, Debbie. I know you have, right? And so we get all defensive because what if she's right? I mean, what if this article is right? Well, all of a sudden tomorrow your weight's going to just pop back on. No, right? So the reality of looking at what's the pieces that we have in common. And Alex nailed this. We're both interested in healthy things. Awesome. Let's team up. Let's keep talking about this. Let's be allies. That is so different from the world of saying my product's better than your product, right? Because that's where that's the easy way to go, because I don't have to be as emotionally vulnerable. But if I say, let's part up and talk about this, and you know what? I need a health ally. And you sound like you're interested in health too. So let's keep this discussion going, and let's talk about what's working for you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you comfortable or satisfied with where you're at? Or is there some things that you still aren't quite good enough, or aren't as healthy as you want them to be? Because I know I'm still working on stuff. Because you know what, Debbie, she's probably looking at you and there may be some jealousy there. Because, oh my goodness, you've been melting before her eyes, dang it. And so I'm kind of pissed about that. So I'm going to bring up some information that I got in the newspaper, the Oregonian, that says that your way's wrong. Right? Yeah. I mean, who knows but maybe it's not wrong or right. Clearly what you're doing is evidence right in front of her. So those are just a couple little things to think about there of how can we partner with people and how can we not posture so hard and guard turf. Because sometimes we guard turf and we miss people's hearts. We miss relationship.
Yeah.
I like what you said about just looking at the article and her opinion going there. I have to talk quietly. Because it's also the opinion of a naturopath. And so I see what you're saying by the opinion could be led by just opinions, other people's opinions.
Yep.
So
not to throw a monkey wrench in this, there are so many ways to be healthy and
strategies, if you will.
There are lots of strategies. And I know people who have done 3 times a day and who have gotten extremely healthy and fit. I know them. So it's not about one way. We're so much more than a 5-in-1 plan. We're so much more than a particular strategy. We're a comprehensive group of people that care. I know we talk about our program being comprehensive, but look at this. This is amazing.
Yeah, today I had a whole different training, and literally we've got 11 minutes left, and I'm not even. It was all about Facebook and whatever. And this, Chad, well, you're invited back. You come, brother.
That's right.
He sparked like a whole fire with his warm hat and his warm ears, and we're all dialing back. This is the things that we can't actually have a planned training on, but this is the stuff that gets to. That's why our community is so powerful. Our community is so more powerful, and this is where optimal health is birthed, not in a meal replacement. Are you kidding me? It doesn't have that kind of power or control in our life. But relationship, partnering, getting on the same side and linking arms with somebody and pulling against that obesity problem together, that's where you're going to see the results. And so that's why we have this community and this group here, because we have 15 people on here. So we're getting 15 times, we're getting a training factor of 15x this morning, not just a one-on-one X, right?
Yeah.
And that's powerful. Kim, you had something.
Yeah, I was just going to my reactions to what Chad brought out in the call. I think I tend to be, when statistics are concerned, it would be really easy for me to hear all those numbers and say, yeah, I know it's a problem. I'm a health coach. I know it's a problem. There's no question. But because you pulled those statistics out, Chad, and took the care to write each one of them down, I'm sure, it made me listen a little, a second time. And those numbers are astounding. I mean, like they're way worse than I even anticipated. I guess I just don't really pay attention. I know it's a problem. I'm here to try to help people with it. And then it brought me back to where I was at when I started the program. And the statistics, I didn't want to hear about statistics because you didn't need to tell me that I was overweight. You didn't need to tell me that I was obese. I knew it. I felt it. And I felt helpless in that. And it just occurred to me, it's like, I'm afraid to share statistics because that just dug the hole deeper for me when I would hear them as an obese person. And yet I just feel the gravity of those statistics. Those are people. And it just makes me motivated to try to find more ways to reach out. So thank you for doing that, Chad.
By the way, when you say you're obese, I know that I notice you don't mention the number, but the number, and I keep encouraging and reminding you, because the number, when you say, well, I was obese, that's just, we're going, did she lose 500 pounds? Did she lose 200 pounds? Yeah. Did she lose 50 pounds? What was it? And so when you add and quantify that number, to me, your number, if it's got 3 digits in it, it sort of says, oh. And so how much did you lose?
Well, it was right around 130 pounds.
Yeah. So that 130 pounds, that's a year. I mean, I don't think it took you a year. I don't know how long it took you, but that when you say that I was obese, I mean, I used to be 130 pounds heavier. That all of a sudden just sort of sinks it in a little bit. And now I'll go, credibility, right? So I just want to encourage you. I loved the connections you made, and I love your heart that those statistics are representing human beings' lives. And those humans have smiles, and they have tears, and they have the world that they live in, and they have their desires and their dreams. So I love your heart there. And it helps also for me to hear your story and connect with you more and see that, wow, she's nailing it. And you give me hope when I hear that but when I look at you, I'm like, I didn't even know you when you were that other person. This is the Kim I know.
What it does to the subconscious is it begs you to question, how does a person change like that? Because it's so rare to see it. And I don't mean just the person who lost that much weight. In this case, we're talking about that. But when you see somebody who was extremely depressed before, and now they're not. When you see somebody, and I understand that sometimes they go hand in hand. You could be 130 pounds of weight plus depressed, plus, I get all that. So I'm not discounting like they're segmented. Or when you see somebody who was completely broke and never could get ahead, and now all of a sudden they have wealth beyond, you're like, what just happened? Right? So the numbers do matter to a certain degree, because the subconscious mind goes, it just, like, you could consciously think thoughts, but you're just compelled to want to know more about this person and what changed about you.
Yeah. And the other piece is, and oh, by the way, that was X amount of years ago. So it actually was a lifestyle change, because I'm now living this new lifestyle, and I'm not visiting. I've been here a little while. Feels good to live in this body. I've been here. I'm working it out. So now I can go, whew. Not only did she come from a land far away, but she's been living in this new body in this new land for a while now. She's probably has some mojo skills, right? And I need to kind of take a little bit more notice that she's practicing what she preaches, and what she's preaching is working.
Well, and Craig, I was just thinking about those statistics. It's like, I feel like, man, maybe that's something that I should post on Facebook. But immediately I went to that, but those people that are struggling, that's just going to hurt them more. But, just feeling that, that's because of the empathy of where I came from. So, but realizing that I can't help them without sharing those kind of things with them.
Well, you can probably share both. You can not only share the statistic, but I was one of those.
Yeah, well, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make that connection, because with just the statistics, I mean, we can post our, you know, our recipes and our statistics and, you know, all this health, and still brand ourselves as health, you know, interested in health and achieving it, and can say we can help people. But I think it's different when it's the, you know, these are people. I was one of those people. And I know what that 1 in 3 feels like, and you don't have to feel that way anymore if you don't want to.
Yeah,
that's great.
Anybody else have some you want to add a little to this? I don't know, from anybody that hasn't shared. Maybe you're just sitting there. We'd love to hear your voice. I don't know, Carrie or Parrish, Linda G. Any of you guys want to? You got something, Parrish? I unmuted
say
you.
something. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't get to be on very many Fridays, but I'm gonna try to make it work. I like what you said earlier. You know, try to put your goal over any obstacle. You know, you can do whatever you really want to do. Kind of spoke to me today, and it was kind of going out while I was listening to Chad because of where I was driving. So I'm gonna go back and listen to some more of that. But I'm super encouraged by our community, and it's really inspiring, and I think that does make a big difference. And I also think, just with Debbie and that gal, you know, just thanking them for what they're saying and doing goes a long way. You know, I like that you try to get on the same side as people and work on that together, and it's good to see everybody. And I'm going to try to make it work. It might be my patient holding up the phone while I clean their teeth. But
That's
I have
awesome.
a couple more Fridays open in December, but thank you. This is so good. I needed to hear it. It's been a long, crazy, life's been happening.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. See ya.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I had a client yesterday. She said, I listened to the podcast while I was getting my teeth cleaned. So she was listening to one of our support calls while she was getting her teeth cleaned. And it was all about like stress management. What a great podcast to listen to while you're getting your teeth cleaned. I don't know about you, but that's stressful for me. Anybody else want to join in or have something to offer here? We got just a couple minutes left as we close. Excellent. All right. Well, it was this has been super helpful, fruitful. These are some of those. We have hard skills and soft skills, and we can tell you and give you a recipe on how to act and react and how to, you know, ask questions and things like that. But Debbie, I'm just the whole call has been great today. And Debbie is so grateful that you shared that with us, because then we were able to talk about what's the first thing that we come back with, you know, and we felt like they were saying, my program is better than your program, you know, whatever. And the Oregonian said, so, you know, meanwhile, the truth of the matter is that she's probably struggling, and what she's doing, that gave her sort of an excuse, like, this program's better than yours, even though my results aren't better than yours. This expert said they are. And so somehow that I don't know, it just kind of gets in there and be's this weird thing. And so as health coaches, we're connecting with the hearts of other human beings. And that's not what, there's some programs out that are just about selling a product. That's not this one. We're about partnering with the heart, with another human being. And so this conversation about how we can come along the same side and how we cannot react, but in defense, but we can partner and look at what they're actually saying behind what they're saying. And that's a soft skill that you have to kind of see modeled, which we showed you some of that. And then when you get into a situation, I'm probably going to blow it the next chance I get, but I'm going to know I blow it because I have a little bit more awareness of it. And then I can work from there and I can get better. And I can say, how could I partner? Kim had some how could I understand more through a question? Right? How could I ask something more? What could I say that could bring us closer together and not farther apart? We need a lot more of that in the world, for sure. So it is the top of the hour, folks. So thank you so much for this awesome topic. Next week, we'll go into the Facebook stalking, and we'll go into and that's a good thing. We'll go into how to come out on Facebook and things like that. So we still have one thing. Join the Healthy Games. We have 2 weeks of late registration. We're 5 days into it. So I want to encourage you guys, if you're not on a team and you want to do that, that's a great place to invite people to, and it's a pretty good community. Alex, you had something?
I do. Really, really good stuff here today. So connected and big time. And you and I have talked about this, Craig, and how amazing it is to connect with each other like this. And at the same time, putting it into action, right? And what out of this is actionable. I encourage you to take 5 or 10 minutes, if not right now, sometime time block it, sometime take at least 1 minute to time block it, and work through, what did I get from today that I could actually put into place in my life as a whole, and then specifically to my coaching practice to serve others.
Well, what you said there, Alex, too, is think about that person in your life that you're a little annoyed with because of, like Debbie. There's this person that's kind of there. It's a little bit.
You've got a differing perspective or opinion or some yeah.
And then how could we actually talk through that? Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah. It just kind of brought up what we're talking about here, brought up the doctor's call with Dr. Garcia on Wednesday?
Breast cancer and so, yeah.
Yeah, and she had a health coach called in who was a nurse and was drilling down and hyper-focused on some of the nutrition in our meals and some of the artificial sweeteners or the aspartame or something that's in one of our meals. And was just drilling Dr. Garcia on this. And she was answering questions and, really talking about the efficacy of the program and how it works. And finally just said, hear Dr. Garcia going like, okay, let's call a spade. And she actually said that, let's call a spade. As a healthcare provider, what's the most critical part of health for your patients? What's the most damaging? What's hurting them the most? Causing them the most risk for their health? Is it these meals that they're going to eat temporarily, or is it the excess weight that they're carrying and the fat that's releasing the toxins and putting them at risk for greater health problems down the road?
So she's trying to get on the same side of the problem and not fight over.
And the nurse said, well, obviously it's their current health condition. Well, okay, if that one meal is causing a problem, don't eat it.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's
rising above the whole my perspective is right, and it's trying to find our perspective. Like, what is it we're really trying to accomplish here? I love it.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you for your contribution. I love being part of this. I love this community, the culture we have here, and I love you guys make it happen. So thanks for bringing your A game, having a great discussion. So the action item today is to think about a conversation you've had that may have been abrupt, and you may have missed the whole point that, oh, this person's interested in health, or they're not as healthy as they want to be. How can I use that to partner and have more discussion around healthy things? Who in your life has brought you an article that was annoying because it said some weird thing using this magic root and you can grow hair or something, right? And it was kind of annoying to you, but they think of me as somebody healthy. So how can I partner with them? So look at behind the scenes. It's what's really going on, and look for someone, at least one person that you can connect with, and look at them as a partner.
That's right. I would encourage the action then to do what you just said. Identify the person's name, whether it's about health. That would be ideal because we're talking about that in context. If you can't think of anyone you've had that with, maybe it's a significant other or someone else. Be careful you don't lift too heavy on this first attempt, right? Go with something that isn't too hard of a situation where there's a lot of, the person, yeah, you get it. Like maybe someone that's too emotional to get into, but find someone that there's been a little bit of a differing opinion, come back to it. If you can't
find out more about that opinion,
What's that?
We'll explore their point of view and really.
That's right. And here's how I do that. I would go to Craig and I go, hey, Craig, last time we talked, I'm really sorry. I got a little defensive on something and you were saying something and I got really interested and curious in it. Could you tell me more? That's a good start. And explore that. And just, if you don't know what to say, just stay away from your position until you've explored enough. And then the intuitions will come. Because when you're on the same page and you found out what the common want is, then there you go.
Yep. Perfect.
If there's no common want, then there's just no common want. And you got to be okay with that too.
Yeah.
I think we want sometimes there to be a common want, and sometimes there just isn't.
Yeah. Well, I think the common want, though, is none of us is as healthy as we wish we were or want to be. So I think we all can seek that and partner over that. So you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to go ride my bicycle.
Yeah, you go for it.
I will see you guys on the other side. Take care, everybody. Good night.